How does enclosure affect wealth distribution? Have you ever wondered how the transformation of shared lands into private property impacts wealth distribution? The process known as enclosure is key to understanding this shift. Enclosure refers to the historical change where common lands, which were shared resources like grazing fields and forests, became exclusive private property. This change often favored wealthy landowners and had a significant impact on how wealth was distributed in society. Before enclosure, many rural communities relied on common lands for their survival. These shared resources allowed families to farm, graze livestock, and gather essential materials. When enclosure took place, these lands were fenced off and privatized. This meant that commoners and small farmers could no longer access the land they depended on for their livelihoods. The immediate result was a sharp decline in economic independence for many rural people. Without access to common lands, small farmers and peasants lost their ability to sustain themselves. They could no longer graze their animals or gather resources freely. Many were forced to seek wage labor on the newly privatized estates or in growing industrial centers. This led to a rise in a class of landless laborers who depended on selling their labor to survive. From a wealth distribution standpoint, enclosure significantly increased inequality. Wealth and land became concentrated in the hands of a few large landowners and aristocrats. The dispossession of the commons meant that wealth, which had once been more evenly shared, became centralized. This laid the foundation for capitalist economic systems, where ownership of productive assets is limited to a small group, leaving the majority to work for wages. Enclosure also disrupted traditional social structures and community ties. The loss of common lands weakened local identities and mutual support networks among villagers. This social dislocation further entrenched economic disparities, making it harder for communities to resist the growing influence of market forces controlled by the wealthy. Practically, enclosure played a role in creating a labor force needed for industrial capitalism. As small farmers lost their land, many migrated to cities or became wage laborers on large farms. This shift fueled the labor demands of industrialization but also led to widespread rural poverty and the decline of communal ways of life. In essence, enclosure changed the landscape of wealth distribution by taking land and resources away from common use and concentrating them in private hands. This process created stark economic inequalities, dispossessed rural populations, and set the stage for capitalist economies based on private property and wage labor. From a socialist viewpoint, enclosure illustrates how private property rights can lead to social injustice by prioritizing profit over equitable access to resources.